Acura MDX and Lexus TX. Which one is the better luxury SUV? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Help Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. The MDX and TX are both large, three-row, family-sized SUVs, perfect for those who want a luxury SUV, but without the luxury repair bills and high operating costs that you normally get with other luxury brands. Reliability is a quality that both Lexus and Acura are really well known for, but which one makes the better SUV? Well, before we get into it, remember, if you enjoy and get value out of this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now, even though both the MDX and the TX are similar sized three-row SUVs, they are very different in many ways. For example, the MDX is only available with two different gas engines, both of which are V6 engines, and there are no hybrid or plug-in hybrid options available. Whereas with the Lexus TX, you get three different choices: a regular gas engine, a performance hybrid, and a plug-in hybrid. The regular gas engine that's in the TX 350 is a turbocharged 2.4-liter four-cylinder engine that comes with an 8-speed automatic transmission, a choice of either front-wheel or all-wheel drive in the US, or standard all-wheel drive in Canada. This engine produces 275 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. It's the same ubiquitous turbo four-cylinder that's now used on many different Toyota and Lexus SUVs. And for the most part, it is a very good engine. It has more than enough power, it's relatively smooth and refined, and the fuel economy is decent for an SUV of this size. It gets roughly between 20 to 27 miles per gallon, or roughly 9.5 to 13 liters per 100 kilometers. But even though it is a perfectly fine drivetrain, it's not quite as good as the V6 engine that you get in the MDX. The standard engine in the MDX is the same naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6 that Acura has been using for many years now. It produces 290 horsepower and 267 pound-feet of torque and comes connected to a 10-speed automatic with a choice of either front-wheel or all-wheel drive in the US, and Acura's super handling all-wheel drive, standard in Canada. The four-cylinder turbo in the Lexus feels fine until you get behind the wheel of the Acura and realize what a big difference having a V6 engine really makes in an SUV of this size. Even though the power is very similar, it's just noticeably smoother and more refined, making it more comfortable to drive. And the fuel economy is more or less the same, so you're not really sacrificing anything. Now, both of these SUVs also come in high-performance versions, the TX 500h Hybrid and the MDX Type S, which are actually the ones that I've been spending the last week behind the wheel of. Now, when it comes to the TX 500h, it's really important to understand here that this is not a typical Lexus hybrid that's designed to have the best fuel economy. This is a performance hybrid, and its priority is producing a lot more power. It's basically the same turbo four-cylinder engine as the TX 350, only with a hybrid system added, so it now produces 366 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. Now, as mentioned, it's really not that much more fuel efficient than the TX 350, but you do get a lot more power, which is nice. And this hybrid system also helps to improve the refinement a little bit. It is a little bit smoother and quieter than the regular engine. With the 500h, you also get a number of F-Sport upgrades like bigger brakes, adaptive suspension, and a torque vectoring all-wheel drive system, all of which are designed to help improve the handling. As a whole though, I'm not really sure whether all of these upgrades that you get with the 500h are really worth spending the extra money. I mean, at the end of the day, this is still a very big bus-like SUV, and it's not really the type of vehicle that's designed for performance and handling. So if it were me, I would probably just stick with the regular TX 350, which is a lot less expensive, still has more than enough performance, and is also geared more towards comfort and having a smoother ride and softer suspension, which I think is a lot better for a vehicle like this. If you really want to have better performance and you're willing to spend the extra money for the TX 500h, then you may as well go a little bit further and get the TX 550h Plus. The 550h Plus is the plug-in hybrid version, but unlike the 500h, this one uses a naturally aspirated V6 engine, combined with a more powerful hybrid system and a larger battery, so it has an electric driving range of around 32 miles or 50 kilometers when it's fully charged. So with the plug-in hybrid, you get that proper hybrid efficiency and electric performance, but you still get over 400 horsepower, and because you have a proper V6 engine, you're not only getting better performance, but you're also getting the smoothest and most refined version of the TX that you can buy, so it really is a win-win in almost every way. Now on the flip side, if you want a proper high-performance SUV that really does give you that sporty feel, then you're going to want to take a closer look at the MDX Type S. The Type S gets a more powerful turbocharged V6 engine that produces 355 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque, significantly more than you get with the regular MDX. And to round out the performance upgrades, you also get larger brakes, an adaptive air suspension system, and torque vectoring, super handling all-wheel drive. And all of these upgrades really do make a difference. They turn the MDX into a surprisingly sharp handling SUV. Now this is obviously still a big family-sized SUV, so it's obviously not going to feel like a sports car, but if you want an SUV that has that strong performance and that sporty feel, the MDX Type S is definitely going to do the job. And it definitely is a better choice for that purpose than the TX. So I guess the takeaway after driving these two SUVs is that the TX is the more comfort-oriented SUV with a more laid-back feel, whereas the MDX is a little bit firmer but also sportier. Now when it comes to the interiors, there are things that I like and don't like about each one. Now what's great is that both of them ultimately have really nice high-quality interiors that have excellent materials, fit and finish, and they both give off that proper luxury vibe. The interior of the TX, however, is better when it comes to its technology. It has a much better infotainment system that has a very large touchscreen display and a much better user interface, whereas the infotainment system on the MDX feels very dated by comparison. It has a much smaller screen that you have to control using a touchpad on the center console, which is a little bit frustrating to use. On the bright side, however, the MDX does have more buttons and knobs and more traditional controls, which is a nice thing. I'm also not too crazy about some of the trim finishes on the MDX, like the use of a lot of high gloss black plastic, which doesn't exactly look the best or age the best. Where the Type S has the advantage, however, is with some of the really nice luxury touches that you can get. For example, the 25-speaker ELS sound system is a true premium sound system for audiophiles, and much better than the Mark Levinson system that you get in the Lexus. You also have extremely comfortable massaging seats with 9 different massage settings, something that you also can't get in the Lexus. Now when it comes to the actual space, the TX actually does have the more spacious interior. It has noticeably more room in the second and third row seats, and also has a larger cargo area. But the downside to this is that Lexus does make you choose whether to go with either a 7 or 6-seater configuration. If you want to have 7 seats, you have to get the TX 350 with the second row bench. All other versions of the TX only come with second row captain's chairs with seating for up to 6, which to me is a major disappointment and a bit of an oversight from Lexus. And that's what's so great about the MDX. Even though it doesn't have quite as much space as the TX, at least Acura doesn't make you choose. All versions come with seating for up to 7, with a second row bench. But what's great is that if you want, you can fold or remove the middle seat in the second row, giving you captain's chairs, so you can have it both ways. So there's clearly some give or take with these SUVs, and with that I think it's time to get into the pricing. The pricing for the MDX ranges from around $51,000 to $75,000 US, or around $68,000 to $88,000 Canadian. Whereas the pricing for the TX ranges from around $55,000 to $78,000 US, or around $70,000 to $92,000 Canadian. So they are both quite expensive, and whether they are a value really depends on how you look at it. For example, they do seem a little bit expensive when compared to, say, something like a Mazda CX-90, which is also a very nice luxurious SUV that does have more aggressive pricing. And if you're not dead set on having a luxury badge, you could even look at a Toyota Grand Highlander or a Honda Pilot, which are both mechanically very similar to these two SUVs. But then on the flip side, the TX and the MDX do look like attractive buys when you compare them against similar 3-row SUVs from other luxury brands like Mercedes or BMW. A comparable BMW X7 or Mercedes GLS can easily cost $20,000 to $30,000 more. And you're definitely not going to get the reliability or the long-term low operating costs that you get with the Lexus or the Acura. Luxury SUVs with pricing similar to these two include the Volvo XC90, the Infiniti QX60, and the Genesis GV80. And even though those are all nice SUVs, I think if you want to be on the safe side and you want a vehicle that's going to be reliable and potentially last you a really long time, both the Acura and the Lexus are the safer choices to go for in that respect. Now, which of these two SUVs would I go for? Well, I think if you're looking for the most spacious and practical SUV, something that's just going to be comfortable and easy to use every day, the TX is the better choice. The TX 350 is a pretty decent value, and if you really want to have a hybrid with better performance and all the features, then the plug-in hybrid TX 550h Plus with the V6 engine is also a really nice package. But if you prefer something that's a little bit more stylish, a little sportier, and more fun to drive, then the MDX is the better choice for that. It's not quite as spacious as the TX. It is a little bit stiffer, and some of the tech is a little bit dated, but it does have that much nicer V6 engine, and it is still a really nice SUV that's really great to drive. So there you have it. Now, after watching this video, which of these two SUVs would you go for? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also take a look at my other videos by clicking these links over here. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. And if you need any additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to visit carhelpcanada.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.